Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Shanna. I'm so glad you're here. Now, we are going to be working with the Love and a Mist, and this is part of the Poet's Garden. And these are one of Susan Turney Cochran's set. And I'm bringing in all of my distressed sprays and my mica sprays. I've got sponge sugar, I've got, festive berries, I've got tumbled glass, and I've got this blue spritz spray that came in the Weekender kit. And I'm going to bring in several other mica sprays. And we are going to create some panels that I can die cut these flowers out of. I've just got some Canson watercolor cardstock there that I've cut in strips small enough to run through my Scout. And I've sped this up tremendously because this was a very long process. This would have been an extremely long video. So I'm just going to be spritzing and spraying and drying and adding layers and layers to several panels. We're going to have a kind of a pinky red, blue, and a purple panel, and then we're going to have a green panel for our leaves, and we're going to have a couple of gold panels for the centers of our flowers and the stamens of the flowers. And so I'm just doing a whole bunch of messy work here. And I had so much joy and fun working with this card. And I want you to stay with me. I know it's sped up right now, and you probably don't care for that. You can slow it down if you so choose. But my voice will sound a little funny if you do that. But anyway, this card is stunning when we get there. I love it. I love it so much that I'm going to frame it. I'm not going to give it away. And I'm going to show it to you in a frame at the end, but that's not going to be the frame I'm using. I did not have exactly what I wanted, and so I just laid it on top of a frame to kind of give the feel of what I think it'll look like framed. So here I'm bringing in all kinds of mica sprays, and I've got a bunch. I've got the Halloween ones, I've got the pewter and the bronze and all of the different mica sprays, and I'm just bringing all of them in and just spraying and spraying. And here's where I'm going to do the green, and I'm going to do this. This is going to be for our die cut leaves that we use, and I'm just going to lay a bunch of different colors. And I'm just going to have a real variety so that our leaves, these are like ferny leaves, and I just want to, have different colors on different areas of the die cut piece. And so I'm just getting really messy. You don't have to be particular with this at all. You can just spray away, and because you're die cutting these pieces, they're going to look fantastic when you get done. Now here, I'm using this for the stamens. We're gonna do some curling. There's gonna be some technique in this video that I'll be showing you, and there's going to be a lot of dimension. This is a card, if you used it as a card, that you would tuck in an envelope or tuck in a gift bag or something like that, or put in a special package or something, because there's so much dimension. You're not going to put this in an envelope. So I'm bending these flowers right down the center. I have already done the other two just so that it wouldn't take forever. And then once I bend them right down the center, I'm going to curl the edges back. And this is going to give you so much dimension on these petals that it's going to be absolutely lovely. So your tweezers are going to be your best friends. I'm using the tweezer to position in the middle and bend. And then I'm just grabbing the edge of the petal and curling it around my tweezer. And that's what I'm doing on all three layers of this. And then I'm pinching the very tip of the petal to make it very pointed. And this is, I guess, typical of these Love and a Mist flowers. Now, I will tell you, Susan Turney Cochran does videos, and they are on the Spellbinders page where the flower is. And she gives great tutorials, and I always watch her tutorials before I go to play with my flowers so that I can understand, because she is, I guess, a flower expert. And she really works hard to make these dies and to show you how to work with them to make them look reflective of the particular flower. And so she has great technique. And I don't have all the tools that she uses, but I can view her technique and then just take what I have and make it work. And you can really come up with some lovely flowers. And I have a lot of her sets because I love them. Now they do take some time. You're making a beautiful project here. You're not doing a production line with these. You are just taking your time, enjoying working with the paper and whatever you're bringing into it, and just creating something stunning. I have a tendency to be more of a production worker, and I have to say that I really enjoyed this. Now this is sped up, but it was a very relaxing craft session. So now what I'm going to do is I'm looking for my stylus. It took me a minute. And I grabbed this is just my Cricut stylus. This is the thing that I stick in the, I don't know, is it the A or the B place on your Cricut where it will score your cards or whatever you're doing. It does the scoring for it. And it has a nice ball on the tip of it, and it's great for kind of pressing these, and it just draws the leaves up in the way that they're supposed to. And I'm just kind of going around there and just pressing in. I've got my rubber. This is the dry embossing mat, I think, that goes with your Platinum 6. I rarely use it, but it works really well for this. So I've got the rubber mat there, and I've got the stylus, and I'm just pressing in on all of these pieces to kind of cup them or cone them up is what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of creating a cup with them, and I'm just doing all the pieces. And you're going to have 2 of these golden pieces for each flower. So you've got 3 layers of petals, and then you've got these inner pieces. There's 2 of these, and then you've got one, what I'm going to call the stamen. It probably all is the stamen, but one is just a little bit tighter. These finger-looking things here are going to roll. We're going to roll them up. And your tweezers are your best friends. So just lay a bit of glue down on there and just take and just roll them up nice and tight and let them glue together. I'm just rolling it around my tweezers, and I'm giving it a little pinch so the glue will adhere. And then I'm kind of fraying them out a little bit so that we'll have a little bit, separating them, so we'll have some fullness. And I'm just going to do the same thing with the next one. And it really is very simple. Now you can have what is that twirling tool that you use? A curling tool. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but you can have that. You don't need it. Your tweezers will do the same thing. So we'll just get this last one laid up and just curl it up. And then again, giving it a pinch. So I've got, you're going to notice normally I will cover my door out of my craft room because the sun will at this time of day, it'll create some sunbeams on the glass mat. And you'll notice that they'll come in as we get going. At the end, I will actually cover it so that I can show you a really good close-up of it. But I didn't mind having the sun on the desk today, and I let it shine in because it is 8 degrees and it feels like -13. So those sun beams that are coming across the bottom of my desk and the side of my desk there are a welcomed sight because it is very cold and actually snowy here in Indiana. And we've got snow, and the snow is blowing, and we got word the highway is a mess, and my son-in-law is out there with his shift partner, and his shift partner just got hit, and it totaled his car. We don't think he's hurt at all, and it is a brand new trooper car, and it has been totaled today. So very dangerous. While I was working on this, I was praying for safety because they're still out there working and it's still blowing, and my daughter will actually come on the next shift. I actually had to pause for a minute and get myself together. I appreciate your patience. Um, that's the reality of the work that they do, and it's something that, we pray about all the time, and that's all we can do. So I'm going to bring in the Poet's Garden press and foil plates, and we're going to get the sentiments ready for this. I'm just going to use my Better Press black ink, and I've got the little one. I have a bigger one, but I tend to grab the little ones for whatever reason. But we're going to get all of these stamped up and pressed, and then I'll have some sentiments to choose from. I've got all of them, but the fourth one, because I didn't have enough room to lay it on there, but I will go off camera and press it as well, and I want to speak to that one specifically. So once we get them pressed, I'll bring them in and I'll show you all the different sentiments, and we'll talk about them. So I've just got some packaging on that platen on my press just to keep it clean. It doesn't work very well. That's why I had to wipe it off, because it doesn't lay flat. I just need to get some regular acetate and put on there. So I always give my presses 2 presses when I am better pressing, just so I get, because I'm not using the cotton paper, and it just gives a better impression if I go twice. So here are the 4 sentiments that I have cut out. And I'm just going to share with you what they are. Actually, I'm going to get them cut out, and I'll share as I'm talking. So we've got a big, beautiful thank you, and I'm laying the dye on it now. And then we have, art is the unceasing effort to compete with the beauty of flowers and never succeeding. And isn't that true? I mean, flowers are just stunning. Happiness is neither virtue nor pleasure, nor this thing nor that, but simply growth. We are happy when we are growing. W.B. Yeats. And then, it takes courage and to grow up and turn out to be who you really are. E.E. Cummings. And we're going to get these die cut out. And then the 4th one that I didn't press with this, but I'll bring back in, is actually a stamp set that's very personal to Susan Turney Cochran, and it is the Happy Gotcha Day. And that particular one is for like an adoption day. And she, on her video, talked about that, in addition to celebrating their birthday, they celebrate their Happy Gotcha Day. I guess she has some grandkids that were adopted, and so she, it was personal to her to create this Happy Gotcha Day, and she actually referenced the grandkids and actually when they adopted their dogs as well. So this is the Happy Gotcha Day, and I think it's a wonderful sentiment, and could be used in some wonderful opportunities. So I'm just showing you all of the different sentiments so that you can check them out. But I did read them already, but they are lovely. I'm going to use this. It takes courage to grow up and turn out to be who you really are, because I decided as I was putting this card together that I was not going to give this card away, and that I was going to find a frame and frame this card, is what I decided that I was going to do. So I brought in just some real light patterned paper, and before I assembled the card and put it together, I just thought I wanted just a real pale background for this white embossed lattice panel that we're going to lay it on, just to let the flowers show through and just have a real light, dainty little pattern behind there. And so I picked this out. That is actually some, Crafty Critta, I believe, is who that paper is from. It is an Australian company that does some foiling and stuff, but they have beautiful pattern paper. And I had it in my stash and I'm bringing it in. Now here I am just laying the 3D embossed panel down and getting plenty of glue so that it will adhere. And this is what we're going to lay our flowers on, because I just wanted a white background and just let those flowers show off. And so we'll get this laid down on here. And I'm just showing you the texture on there. And this little section here is actually at real time. I sped up most of it just because it was really lengthy, but this particular part here is actually at real time. And I was voicing over before I actually realized it, and to speed it up now would require revoicing, so I'm just going to leave this little section. It's just a small section. And I realized that I want to get that big sentiment laid down on there and then figure out how I want to position my floral arrangements. So I stuck it at the bottom and just so that I could visualize. Now here's where I sped it up because it's quite a bit of assembly. And I'm just adding glue and adding layers and just using my tweezers to push them down in there. And then we're going to add this first one. I'm going to look at and I'm like, I don't like it. The centers look like more of the petals and they're kind of blocking all of my petals. And so I'm going to mess with it, and then I'm like, I don't like it. So I pulled them off and I just start squeezing them together and bending them and just really cupping them a lot tighter than what they originally were. And then I'll add the rolled part to the center. And I'm just going to lay them aside because I've got them squeezed and pinched together. There's a lot of glue in there, and I'm going to lay them aside and let them dry. So I'll get the 3 of these assembled, and then we'll go back to the flowers and start assembling the actual petals of the flowers. And I decided to do that because I knew the way I was doing this, it was going to need some dry time so that that all the center pieces would kind of glue and stay in place. And so I'm just pinching them together nice and tight, kind of squeezing them and using my fingers to just really push them together. Here, I'm going to show you. I guess I didn't. Anyway, and then put the flowers together. And then they're going to be, those centers are going to be nice and tight now, and it's really going to look pretty. And you can see the sunbeam is coming across the desk now, and I'm getting some sun on my desktop, and it's wonderful. And I'm just positioning these in here. I think I've slowed it back down a little bit, so it's not quite as fast. And they're just lovely. There is so much dimension. Now I'm going to take my sentiment and I'm going to get it laid down, and then I can kind of play around with my flowers a little bit and figure out how I want to position them. And I'm just going right in the middle because at this point I've realized this is going to get framed. And when we get the leaves on here, oh my gosh, it's just so pretty. Just messing around, just trying to get my placement. Now you could have done these flowers in all one color or whatever, but I just wanted to do kind of a variety of them and just have some, visual interest with the different colors. Now for a split second, I thought about using a foam square on this, and I'm like, you don't need a foam square. It has enough dimension already, and I think I can get it enough glue on there to get it to stick to the embossed panel. That was the reason why I thought about using the foam square, was just so that I could get it to adhere very quickly. But I thought, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to put some glue on there, and we're just going to let it glue itself. Take the time and let it get good and adhered, and it'll be just fine. So I'm getting a good amount of glue on the back of that flower. This one felt like I needed to give it a little push. So I'm just using my tweezers to push the center. And then we're going to get this one laid down in here. Giving it a little push. And you can kind of bend your petals and move them around however you want them. Now, for the leaves, I have cut all of them but one, and I want to show you. And Susan recommended this. Did I do that already? If I did it, I don't think I mentioned it. You die cut these out, and then you go down each little leaf and split it, and it'll make a really fine fern leaf on here, and they'll just be real kind of spiky and very furnished looking, and it really adds to it. And she spoke about it on her video, and that you couldn't get a die to get these ferns or these leaves as ferny as you want them. So, they made like little leaves, and then you just split them, and then it just adds so much to the leaves. And so I did that, and I think I showed it, but I was probably talking through it, or it was sped up and I didn't catch it or whatever. But you just take and split these leaves a little bit, and I'm just tucking them all around these flowers. And she said that she thought that the flower was called Love in a Mist because these leaves just kind of surround the flowers, and just kind of the flowers are just kind of a mist in them or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just going to use all of these and tuck them in. I'll cut some of them down smaller just to kind of keep it within the confines of the card. And we'll just continue tucking and just placing them just to get the desired look that I want to achieve with this. I've got a couple other die sets as part of this collection. I worked with... Actually, I worked with a Regal collection yesterday, and I used this embossed folder. That's where this panel came from. But I've got a couple more from this Poet's Garden. I think we have clematis, and we have maybe hydrangea. I can't remember what they are, but they'll be coming up on my channel later. And I hope they turn out as spectacular as I think this did. Let me know if you... if you like the card. I think it's really pretty with the mixed media. Now, Susan actually used her Copic markers and just inked hers up. But I had the mind to use the mixed media and just have a real variegated looking flowers. So that's what I chose to do. So continuing to tuck all of these flowers or these leaves in there and enjoy that sunshine that's coming in, creating the shadows on my desk there. And I'm just going to bring in my scissors, I think, and snip this one down. I'm like, I want more, but I don't want it to be that long. So I'm just going to snip it off and just position it. And I'm kind of just gluing the very bottom of it and letting them just bend upward and kind of giving them a bend if I want them, to kind of stick up a little bit more. Just using my fingernails just to kind of position them. I'm going to clean up off my desk. I'm going to put a drape over that window so that we can get a good view of it. And here it is. I think it's stunning. I love it. There's so much dimension and so pretty. I really like it. So here's a couple pictures so you can check it out. And I am going to just set it on a frame just to kind of give you an idea of what it might look like on a frame. And I'm going to find me a frame that will work with it and probably hang it in my craft room. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.